Stray dogs have been a part of India's urban and rural landscape, evoking compassion for some and concern for others, with incidents of dog bites making headlines and heated debates taking over housing societies and social media. The need for judicial clarity became urgent. In a major development of Delhi-NCR, the Supreme Court on Monday ordered officials to move stray dogs from streets to shelters. 8 weeks of time has been allotted to round up hundreds of stray dogs. Supreme Court raised concern over rising menance of dog bites leading to rabies. The court warned against any form of cruelty, stating that vigilant actions or unauthorized killing of stray dogs would be treated as a criminal offense. To help us understand the current situation, we have Ritika Goel with us, an animal welfare activist. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, ma'am, my first question to you would be, how do you see this approach coming down from Supreme Court?
Uh, it's definitely not going to go well. There are a lot of practicality issues. Second of all, subject matter expertise were not what do you say? Were not uh, spoken with. uh, and it's definitely not scientific. I think you would have seen a lot of reels, a lot of videos, a lot of content out there which states why this is not scientific and why the central government law of animal birth control 2023 has clearly stated to capture, spay, sterilize, vaccinate, and then release.
So, ma'am, as we know that citizens often complain about dog bites and safety concerns, so how can public actually connect safety with animal rights both at the same time?
It's a very good question. What I want to bring to our notice is that our constitution has set very interesting laws and rules, which is to some degree pretty fair. Of course, it has to be revised and it has to be as for today's time. Like, for example, we have animal rights laws, right? Where you can't abuse, you can't kill, you can't harm. Uh, of course, the PCA Act, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, that of course definitely needs to be revised and should be in pace with today's time. Uh, we also had a program called as Honorary Animal Welfare Officer. I was a part of it too, where we were trained, explained, told. We still have a lot of organizations who conduct uh, these workshops, animal welfare training workshops with the police. Now, when a police training is done, this is one of the modules there where they teach you what are the laws with respect to animal welfare. So that is there. The problem comes when it's not implemented. Okay. Because it is not implemented, people take it for granted that they can get away with anything. They can get away with burning animals, or they can get away with with troubling animals or maiming animal, or whatever it is, right? Then what happens? The dog remembers, let's take an example, the dog remembers that, okay, this person has hit me, or this person is not safe, this person is going to chase me. As a defense mechanism, the dog bites, right? This is how it all boils down to,
Yeah,
dog bites, correct?
yeah.
Now, what this is something that I was in conversation with a very good friend of mine yesterday, and I told him this too, that we really need to start focusing on implementing the laws that we have, the rules that we have. We need to also, while of course we are, of course, dog bites and all of that is definitely safety concerns, and no one should really be traumatized with that whole experience. Definitely agreed. Human lives matter, animal lives matter. Definitely agreed. But we got to coexist, right? We can't just make unscientific claims. So, number one, ABC, one, let's reduce the population. How do we reduce the population? With effective implementation of ABC. There again, there are a lot of challenges that the government themselves are facing. Like it's been 10 months since the government releases funds for the salaries to get paid. There's no water supply. The facilities are not proper. The people who are doing ABC are not authorized. They're boshed up surgeries where they do surgery for the animal and then they release the animal on the road, and the stitches come out. You can see the intestine hanging, right? So the implementation is so poor. And on August 14th, we had very prominent lawyers who also put this to notice of the three-bench judge, that there are a lot of violation of the ABC law itself, with respect to implementation. So that is one. Second of all, definitely every city should have a dog pound, which gives a space for animals who have behavioral problems, or have rabies, or have some or the other issues, for them to get shelter, involve good veterinaries, involve good behaviorists, work with the animal and release it back or get it adopted. This is where you work with your NGOs, you work with your community dog feeders, you work with people, right? So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is one way of handling dog bites.
Hmm.
Uh, Reduce the population, if create shelter spaces, provide medical facilities. These are the ways where we can tackle specific to dogs.
So, ma'am, do you think that government has done enough sterilization drives and vaccination drives? Do you think?
See, uh, they have been trying to, and I can only, so okay, let me tell you, when I was in Gujarat, I visited the shelters there, and one of the shelters over there, they did microchipping of dogs. The
Okay.
government actually procured these microchips, and they were all microchipped, and there was a register, there was a diary, all of this was documented by me.
Ma'am, could you
And the
explain
intention,
about the microchip thing? Could you explain
uh,
about this? Yeah.
so it's like a little size of a rice grain. You have a serial number to it, and you have a special
Hmm.
device. If you hover the device over that microchip, you get the details, right? So
Okay.
you just inject that microchip into the animal. Now in Gujarat, what they did was the government procured the microchips. It's not a part of EBC, but they did procure it. Uh, Hats off to them. And what they would do, serial number, name of the dog, area of the dog, when the dog was sterilized, vaccinated, rabies, everything done, check, and they released it back. So the moment there is an unknown dog in a territory, right, you just have to uh, wave that wand over the dog and you will get to know the details of the dog. So this basically makes sure that we're not relocating dog into different territories and the dogs are going back to the respective territories. So that is a very beautiful thing. Goa, there is a private organization who's done a fantastic job with rabies, with ABC. They vaccinated, sterilized, and they've set such a good precedence. Like a lot of other NGOs or teams go to them and they learn how to conduct. ABC is not just about operations, which is I'm talking about sterilization and spaying. ABC is also about how you're catching a dog. Catching a dog also is not easy. They're feral dogs, they run, and you're catching them in an open land area which has no fence. This is again where
Right.
you have your community dog feeders come into place. So but that's a private organization, and I gave you an example of a government who's taken an initiative of microchipping. Now in Bangalore also, while we do have a couple of NGOs, and I'm talking out of experience, they're still struggling. The proper, there's no, see, when you capture a dog, and as per the AWBI and the ABC rule, per dog should be given certain square feet of area.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right now, for example, if it's a short term, which is you're catching a dog, the dog will be there for 2, 3 days, 5 days. In this case, say 7 days, 1 day for surgery, 5 days for post recovery. That's a short period of time.
Yeah.
So it's 12 to 15 square feet per dog. Let's just assume. So you have to build a shelter on those lengths, correct? Uh, they don't have the space. They don't have the space. So you're lining up to cramp up dogs.
Right.
So
Right.
second of all, your manpower or your workforce. It's challenging to find people who want to catch dogs, who want to clean after the dog defecate, who wants to cook food for dogs, who want to deal with dogs. And look at the exposure that these workforce will have with the dogs and the percentage of risking themselves for being bitten by dogs, not because the dog is aggressive, but the dog is very scared coming out of
Yeah.
anesthesia, or it's a scary place, right?
Yeah. People
So
tend to get scared easily. Yeah.
no, the dogs are scared because now they're in the shelter with smells and stinks of medicines and a lot of
Right.
defecation. It's not a good place. So they're scared. They don't know what this man will do. They've seen this man for the first time. They're scared. They're not in the territory. So now if the government is saying that we're going to catch 5,000 dogs and put them in a shelter, right? How are we going to get the workforce? Nobody stays. I personally know a lot of NGOs who like people come work there for 1 or 2 days and they leave. or they come and they work there until they get another better job and they leave. So you're
Mm.
going to keep spending a lot of your money in trying to recruit your workforce. So that is also another problem. Sorry, what was your question again?
Yeah,
I don't know if I
actually, my
just.
question was like, do you think government has done enough sterilization and vaccination process? Yeah.
No, they haven't. For sure, they haven't. Like for example, in Bangalore itself, Bangalore, the Karnataka. See, there are two things. One, you have your panchayat areas, and the other, you have your metro area, the city area, right? A lot of dogs in the panchayat area, ABC doesn't happen in the panchayat areas. Okay, uh, they don't come under the municipality or the corporation. So ABC is only for the municipality or corporation areas. So the ABC happens only in these areas. Here also, uh, hardly 4 5 ABCs. Just take giving a very rough figure. Imagine Bangalore is such a very big city. It's such a huge city, right? Such a big area. It's so just these many will not help. They've divided into East Zone, West Zone, North Zone, South Zone. But
Hmm.
the zone itself is so big. You need much
Yeah.
more EBC centers and you need much more. In a day, do you know how many dogs an EBC center can catch? If they leave, say, in the morning around 6 o'clock or so, they come back by 12 o'clock, they're able to catch only 30 dogs. Because it's that difficult. It's
Yeah.
that difficult. 30 dogs is all because the dog gonna run, go on the drainage, and the smell of the ABC van itself will make all the dogs run away. So you need a lot more people. You need more better vehicle. The condition of the vehicle is no less than a garbage vehicle. It stinks.
Right.
There's
Right.
no right. So you need good vehicles to make sure that if you're catching these dogs, the dogs don't fight with each other or bite with each other. And you have to make sure that you're
Hmm.
not caught the sick dog that has canine distemper, which will then spread to every other dog, or a
Right.
dog that does not have rabies unknowingly. So the segregation has to be there. So government really has to, and first of all, there is no monitoring committee. Ideally, there should be a monitoring committee who will see how the ABC is done, how are they dropping it back. Now they've even started with geotagging, where you're picking the dog and where you're dropping the dog. There has to be geotagging. Very few centers are following that, right? The
Hmm.
cameras and this and that. There's so many SOPs which are not yet followed. So my answer is no. The government says there's so much of money allocated, but trickle down effect, how much of that money really comes down to ground zero people who are working, sterilizing, spaying, the doctors, veterinary. I've known 10 months salary is not given. Who will want to sit and catch dogs and clean after dogs and work in a shelter? Nobody will. So no, the government is not giving attention. A monetary committee is not there. There are violations of the ABC SOPs themselves.
Yeah. So, ma'am, my next question to you would be: is there enough capacity to accommodate all the stray dogs in a shelter? Like what the
Absolutely
government?
not. Absolutely not. So now, see, if you want to, I was doing this calculation the other day. Uh, say 5,000 dogs. Now, this dog has to live in that particular place for 15, 16 years because that is the life, shelf life of a dog, right? So, say if we even say 50 square feet, average 50 square feet per dog. Um, and if we're saying that we need 5,000 dogs to be sheltered, then there's only indoor space, and you can't keep a dog indoor. They will go mad.
Right.
It's
Right.
not. It's no less than Hitler's gas chamber or isolation chamber.
Absolutely.
It's no less than that, right? And these are migratory species. They migrate from one place to another place. They scavengers. They scavenge. So they are not used to being stationed in one place, right? So you will need at least 10 to 15 acre of land in Delhi to accommodate. And this I'm talking only about indoor capacity. What about outdoor capacity? You will also have to exercise the dog. You'll have to, you know, remove the dog in the morning so that they can go out. They can, so outdoor will be another God knows how many acres, say around 10 acres too. So that's 25, say around 30 acres of land, right? And in that you have to accommodate your tankers, your sewage, your drainage, your kitchen area, your staff to stay, for them electricity, infrastructure, all of that has to be there. CCTV camera has to be there. Your entire veterinary setup has to be there. Operation setup has to be there. All of that has to be there. That itself is going to cost you so much, And you're going to do this not one day, you're going to do this for 15 years, 30 years, how many years? Forever? Forever till when? Till all the dogs perish? Seriously?
Exactly. So, ma'am, building facilities for lakhs of dogs within such a short amount of time, like 8 weeks, as we know, do you think this is a realistic aim that a Supreme Court, built?
Definitely not. See, with due respect to them, like I said in the beginning of our conversation, they should have consulted the respective organizations who are involved in this entire operation. They should have spoken to NGOs. Today, if you walk into an NGO, every NGO starts with a capacity of 60 dogs. They land up with 200, 300, 400 dogs. Okay, there's no capacity. And then you have to talk to them, ask them how you're managing your manpower, your workforce, how are you cleaning up after 400 dogs. And this you're talking about NGOs that within the city, or not like within the city, but almost in like at the radius or border of the city, a little far up, because that's where you get your land. How do you manage the food? Where is the food going to come from? A lot of chicken, a lot of this, a lot of that. And then what about veterinary? So no, definitely they should have also spoken to the veterinaries, the doctors. Is it scientific? Is it not scientific? They should have spoken to the relevant subject matter expert and then made a very informed decision and passed an order. Is my thought.
Okay, so ma'am, do you think this might lead to a very inhuman treatment for them, like a sudden change of everything from streets to shelters? Do you think this might lead to some kind of inhuman treatment?
Absolutely, this is inhuman. You are taking a dog who has lived in that particular area. He has his probably entire ecosystem. He's got his pack over there. He's probably got a dog feeder who's taking care of them, who's sterilized, dewormed, put a reflective collar on them. You know, they feeding them every single day. They take care of these dogs. I've seen old people also take care of these dogs, right? Suddenly you're catching multiple packs, putting them together in one territory, there are going to be fights. And you don't know which dog, because the government is not able to vaccinate. How much ever the vaccination has been done probably would have been done by the community feeders or ABC. But what about the other dogs who are exposed to diseases like canine distemper, rabies, uh, so many other diseases are there. What are you going to do? And one dog gets one contagious virus, it will take no time for all the other 5,000 dogs. And next thing, what you know, they're all dead.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
What you're going to do with and the airborne virus? Every NGO that you step, despite their best efforts, including hospital, the best veterinary hospitals that you see, right? They constantly sterilizing the area, because when you're working with animals, there's a very high chance that there's an exposure of airborne viruses and airborne diseases. Of course, you're dealing with sick animals. Same goes even with the human hospitals too, right? So the best of the best hospitals in India are always sterilizing the floor, the air, so much. How are you going to do this in one shelter holding 5,000 dogs? That's going to be horrible.
Exactly. So, ma'am, my last question to you would be, what alternatives do you propose at this situation, which can be effective for both humans and dogs to coexist?
Create shelters, create pounds provided, and there are veterinary facilities, operation theaters uh, uh, that are there, and only work or take in dogs that actually have behavioral issue, also involve behaviorists along with veterinary. Take in dogs that have behavior issues, who let the behaviorist work with the dog, work with NGOs to get the dogs adopted, because they can't live there forever. It's not feasible, it's not scalable. Let um, work with the community dog feeders to understand one feeder is taking care of how many dogs, and kind of make sure that they kind of take responsibility, but they also get the government support, to vaccinate, to deworm. If there is work with residential welfare associations, try and use or convert these street dogs into guard dogs, night duty dogs. You've seen so many watchmen who go off to sleep, right? So try and coexist. Coexist. is what I would say. And definitely set a monitoring committee for ABC. It's high time, increase the number of ABC shelters that are there across the country, right? And microchipping is also a fabulous example set by the Gujarat government. So we should microchip so that we know where this dog is coming from and, give it back, or whatever the case may be. There's so much we can do, right? Set a committee which is inclusive, right? The
Right,
Supreme
right.
Court, the lawyers, the judges, a very inclusive committee with NGOs, dog feeders, behaviorists, veterinarian experts, lawyers, our residential welfare association representative from all of them. Set, talk, and figure how we can coexist, because this is not an answer and this is not scalable. It's not scientific.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for lending your precious time to us. So it was really great having you with us.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely talking to you.